Today we are going to look into two vital topics which concern almost everybody in the day-to-day life in the present scenario. That is the law of partition, which is the partition of the family property among the co-partners in accordance with law, and divorce. Today, due to the advancement of technology and ways of life, family values have been completely on the downside, and divorce has become a norm for everybody, because today we see that every second marriage ends in a divorce, which is leading to a catastrophic situation, because not only the trauma is suffered by the couple but also by the children who are born out of that wedlock. Okay, let us look into partition. Partition is nothing but a property which is available among the co-partners. Co-partners means co-partners are none but the persons who have a right over the property by way of birth. Partition is covered by three main acts. They are Partition Act 1983, Indian Succession Act 1925, and Hindu Succession Act. And as far as Muslims are concerned, they are governed by the Muslim Personal Law, that is Shariat Application Act of 1937. There are many ways by which the partition can take place, but the most important aspect is that what is the type of property that is available for partition. There are many number of properties which have different shades and combination of shades. That is, there are basically properties can be considered in two modes, that is self-acquired property and ancestral property. Self-acquired property is the property that is acquired by the individual during his lifetime without any input from the joint family property or the ancestral property. Such property can be available for partition among the co-persons after the death of the said individual. But in case the person who has purchased the property from his ardent money, he has all the rights to execute a will or any other document in the way of settlement, etc., bequeathing his property to the person whom he chooses. That is one property. And the next one is ancestral property. Ancestral property is the property which devolves upon a person from his ancestors. Ancestors means like a son is there, his father and grandfather. Grandfather purchases a property out of his self-acquired, is out of his hard-earned money, which is called as self-acquired property as far as the grandfather is concerned. But what happens the moment the property comes in the hands of the father, the same becomes an ancestral property over which the son has a right by birth. These are two properties. These are two properties which are available for partition. Many times there are situations where a self-acquired there's a lot of confusion whether it's a self-acquired property or ancestral property. The dispute arises on the premise that although the property can be styled as a self-acquired property, but what happens, there will be pleas to the effect that this property was purchased from and out of the family nucleus, and hence it should be considered as a joint family property. But these are matters of evidence which has to be considered by the court. Then next thing, first of all, most of the cases the family members sit down and talk among themselves and decide to partition the property. But in many cases what happens is that they are not able to arrive at a consensus to partition the property, because one person might be claiming more and another person will not be agreeable to the same. So they are constrained to file a partition suit before the court of a competent jurisdiction. Mostly that is a district court. As far as Chennai is concerned, you have an option of filing it before the city civil court or the high court according to the valuation of the property. And next thing is the property which is available for sale for partition is first of all assessed, and the court decides the entitlement of each party over the property. And after the entitlement is decided, then the modus by which the property should be partitioned is taken out, and then the property is partitioned by metes and bounds. And in some cases, a party who has been in possession of a property illegally to the detriment of the other co-partners, he may be compelled to pay mains profits, that is a way of a compensation to the other party who has been wrongly deprived of the rights over the property. Normally it takes several years to arrive at to complete the entire process of partition, from the date of filing of the suit to the ultimate division and allocation and taking possession of the subject property. In some cases it has been stretching for almost 20 years, and by the time the entire most of the time what happens, the property gets dissipated, and ultimately the fruits of the property will not be available for the persons who are entitled to the same. But in some cases, if a consensus is arrived before the court, in most of the cases they are referred to Lok Adalat, where the parties are made to sit and thrash out the differences and arrive at a conclusive solution, which is highly recommended in a situation so that the parties can beneficially enjoy the property. And next question is, what happens if a partition has taken place and it has to be reopened? Suppose a party feels that he has been wrongly deprived of the right over the property which he is entitled to, by way of the fact that the property being an ancestral property, he can seek to reopen the partition on the premises that the partition is an outcome of fraud, and suppose a child is there in the womb and his rights have not been taken care of, he can always seek to reopen the partition. Then adopted child or disqualified or a property being allocated to a disqualified co-partner, a child conceived and born after the partition, absentee co-partner, minor co-partner, and omissions of the properties. These are the most important aspects and the grounds on which the partition can be reopened, and a party can seek the court of competent jurisdiction to relook into the partition which is being taking place. But normally what happens, the courts are slow in setting aside a partition which has been in existence for several years. Sometimes a partition will be in existence for 30 to 40 years, and a party will seek to disturb the same, which is not normally encouraged by the parties. But if the party is able to prove that a fraud has been committed before the court right royally sets aside the partition, and then the proceedings to divide the partition in accordance divide the property in accordance with the law of partition takes course, and ultimately the property is divided and allocated by metes and bounds to the co-partners who have an entitlement over the subject property. Next thing, who can file a partition suit? Any person who has a right, or in legal parlance he is called as co-partner, has a right to file a partition suit. And next thing, what is required is whether a deed of partition should be registered. Yes, of course, the same has to be registered before the jurisdictional sub-registrar by paying the appropriate fees. Anybody who has a right over the subject property is entitled to file the partition suit. And what is the limitation for filing a partition suit? The limitation runs from the date on which the parties don't agree to arrive at a partition over the subject property. These are the many facets of joint family property which is available for partition among the legal heirs or co-partners, whatever you may call them. But normally, for beneficial enjoyment and proper management of the property, it is highly advised that parties try to sit among themselves and sort out the issue so that the dissipation of the property and unnecessarily legal expenses etc. can be best avoided. But in most of the cases, a party who has been beneficially placed over the property refuses to abide by a reasonable solution put forth by the other members of the family, and it results in litigation which cannot be avoided. So these are the many facets of partition and the partition of the joint family properties. Thank you.